guys, today with us we have very special guests who are IIM graduates and an SPGen graduate. And these two people are Times Kolkata Center Director. And this episode is going to be very special because not just one, but we have two special guests on our episode. Please welcome Siddharth sir and Prachi ma'am to our Time Capsule Podcast. So how are you feeling being here today?
It's a good experience. As we were discussing, it's our first time we are coming on a podcast. So
Yeah.
we ourselves is also very excited we expect to have good conversation and enjoy. That is what we are looking for.
So you're nervous about it?
Yeah, a little nervous because you're doing it for the first time, but yes, equally enthusiastic also
Okay,
interacting with you guys.
that's great. So my first question would be that you, before joining Time, you were working in UPL and you were a part of Goldman Sachs, right? So being a part of those wealthy companies or those great companies, why did you leave those jobs and then enter into a field of educators?
So
It was always there in our mind that we wanted to do something of our own and something in education, because job was something which was good, but we always had this thing between both of us that we want to do something of our own. And education is one field that we both are good in academics. We have been a good student from the very beginning, and we see that what kind of impact education has done on us in our private and professional life.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be in this field only. So that is why we choose this sector, and then we went ahead.
so we both were Time students.
Okay.
At one point of time,
Yeah.
he was Time Varanasi student and I was Time Delhi student.
Okay.
So something we have known Time very closely, the entire setup, and we really liked it.
Yeah.
So while preparing for your CAT, you were in the part of Time indirectly
Yeah.
as a student.
As
Yeah,
a
yeah.
student.
So you had at that moment of time that I have to head this institute or something like that.
Not
Not
at
at
that
that
point of
time.
time,
Not-
but
not
yeah,
at that
when
point
we
of time.
thought about going into education sector, so
Yeah.
it was about from which field we can start. MBA was kind of a big change in our life.
Yeah.
Probably if I would say when I'm after clearing 10th, in 11th, since I was good in mathematics, I choose science with maths. But I was not that. The wisdom was not at that level that I choose it by my conscience. It was kind of a societal kind of a thing.
Okay.
Even for preparing for IIT, you get your rank, and post that you get your college and stream.
Yeah.
So, for example, I am good with physics and math, but I got into metallurgical engineering, which is very chemistry dominated.
Dominated.
So, those 3-4 years of engineering were not that joyful for me.
Okay.
Well, I was always a good student, but during that 3-4 years, I always felt that I'm not enjoying what I'm studying or so. So in third year, I started preparing for CAT, and that was a course which I really liked, and it changed my thought towards my education. And then MBA totally changed my way of thinking, and it really boosted my career. So we also wanted to help other children who are into some graduation field and they want to change their career and want to do their MBA.
Yeah.
So that was a field which we felt helped us a lot
Helped us a lot.
in our journey. So that was a part we wanted to help.
Okay, that's great.
So it started with MBA, we wanted to do something related to MBA, and then Time was something which we both were a part of. So we applied for it and we got this opportunity, and that is why we went ahead with Time.
this.
So
That's great. So okay, you both are running the Time Kolkata Institute. Okay, so as a couple, isn't that you might be having conflicts regarding your ideas? So how do you cope up with that?
It happens a lot when
Okay.
there are two minds, obviously,
Yeah.
you have two different perspectives. It happens a lot. Initially, there were teething issues because he had been doing very good in his job sphere, leading his teams. I had been in my own world, leading my teams. But when we were working together professionally, yes, there were things which didn't initially, what will be the sphere in which he will be leading things. And so eventually we created our own space that, okay, these things you are good at, you lead it. These things I'm good at.
Basically divided the roles.
We divided, we
Yeah.
split the work accordingly, and some things we realized that required inputs of both of us. So daily half an hour we have this meeting wherein we both meet professionally and discuss open-ended things. So
Yeah.
yes.
So during office hours, if we are doing work from home, we do it from two different rooms. She take her calls from different teams. She handles the entire back office part, the scheduling, accounting, the student interaction, the service
Yes.
part she handles, and I handle the entire front end part, the marketing and all those things I handle. So we work very differently, but in every day we connect for half an hour to see if I'm doing something right, I need some help and her advice. So in that half hour we discuss that, and if she wants to give some input, if I'm doing something and she is not like relating with it, and she had some more input. So in that half an hour,
We are very particular about our email IDs. Like his email ID, he reads. My email ID, like we make sure that things that I want him to know of, like I keep him in loop.
Yeah, actually, because what we see that as a couple, not many people can work together.
Yeah.
Like they can stay together, but working is a total different thing because you have to maintain two personalities basically,
Right.
like a professional personality and like a personal. So it's like great the way you're maintaining it.
Yeah.
Yes, it has been a good journey, I think.
But yeah, over a period of time, we feel that we have connected more because of this
The overlap has
overlapping
increased, so yes.
Okay, so how do you stay updated with the CAT trends, as in the exam patterns gets changed or the question paper which recently changed? So how, like, what strategies should the audience apply for maintaining these trends?
So as mentioned, like we ourselves have been a CAT student and we entered into this field because of the passion.
Yeah.
So every year we ourselves sit for the exam. So CAT doesn't have any age barrier. So we ensure every year we go and sit and give the exam, and all our faculty members
Every year?
they go and sit an exam. It's like a mandatory practice,
Okay.
and it happens at pan India level at times.
It happens
Yeah.
pan India level at time, because that's how, like, you go there, you give the exam first time, and that's how you get to know.
Getting like being in the field and
Yes.
Right.
So any
Okay.
change in pattern which is happening in the exam, we experience it firsthand. We also experience like which are the topics, the weightage of those topics is increasing. For example, when we gave CAT at that point of time, geometry weightage was very high.
yeah.
Recently, the weightage of geometry has gone down.
Yes.
So those kind of things we incorporate in our curriculum also. We increase the number of classes for those course structure. We give the classes of those topics more.
Last year, algebra was one topic which came more. So, like, we
Why do
have
you
to
think
make
this
sure-
like this pattern changes suddenly? Like
I think every time different IM prepares the exam, they also will keep the ball game running, no? Like you feel.
but isn't like there should be an equilibrium, like proper balance in each of the section?
So what is
there's
the
a-
fun in that?
But it's stressing us out.
There's a pros and cons in everything. Now, if you will become too predictable, then student will come
Yeah.
preparing about those
Yeah.
particular
Yes.
topics. So what you are saying is also right, but like there's a cons for that also. So this is how CAT and IM is. So we will have to.
Yes, at the end of the day, it's an aptitude paper, so it has to like
yeah,
test
sure.
your aptitude.
And apart from that, we use technologies also, like for the AIMCATs. As you
Like,
can-
for example, in AIMCATs, you get to know that the analysis of AIMCAT, you get to know that the topper solved this question in how many seconds.
Yeah.
That particular question.
Mhm.
You also get to know what is the average time other students took to solve this question, and what is the time that you yourself took to solve this question. And at the end, like, this
It shows,
entire
like, in a
matrix-
chart.
Yes, it's shown in the chart that for which topic, what is your strength and where you need to work. So this kind of exhaustive data crunching, and AIMCAT is given by every year, like more than 70,000-80,000 students give it, like active preparing students,
Okay.
serious students are giving it. So
Malab,
Huge
these
data.
changes she's talking about from the exam point of view.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you'll see, I don't know whether you observe it, like last year the number of takers were very high. There was a sudden jump in CAT takers.
I think 3 lakhs.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
3 lakh plus. Normally it is in the range of 2.1, 2.2.
Yeah.
But it jumped beyond 3 lakhs. So when we did our analysis, we observed that the number of takers from non-engineering background have increased significantly. So this jump was from the non-engineering back, like BCom, BMS, BBA. These PMO students started giving more CAT. So because we are taking classes, we observed that the strength of those students have increased in the class. And these students normally face issue with their quant. They are very good with verbal, but they have issues with
Yeah, the
quant.
non-engineers.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I have this question: why engineers are preferred more? Because if they are good at quants, but they have that VRC section weak, then the non-engineers whose VRC is quite better than those, but the quant section is weak. Still, engineers are hired more. What we have seen with the
No,
statistics.
it's a complete myth.
Okay.
If you talk with an engineer, they will talk like complete opposite thing, because IIMs gives extra marks to non-engineering student of diversity. So let's say if there's an engineer,
Yeah.
if he will score 99.8, he will get a call. But if it is a non-engineer, they will get a call at 99.2 or 99.1 also.
and
So-
the girls also get extra weightage.
The gender thing I know.
No,
Yeah.
but
So
there is
if you will
this.
talk with any engineer, so there's a word GEM, general male
Yeah,
engineer.
huh.
So if you are a male, then also you are losing a point. If you are a general category, then also you are losing a point. And if you are an engineer, you are going to lose a point.
Okay.
So I myself has faced that issue. Like I was a general male engineer, so the cutoff for me was higher. So they have an advantage in mathematics, but the cutoff goes higher for them, and for a non-engineering students, IIMs give those weightage.
So they are trying to make this like a they're giving you that advantage so that you can compete with.
So
Okay.
we have a lot of examples. A lot of commerce background students scoring only 97 percentile are getting IIM call, and there are engineering students who are scoring more than 99 percentile, but they are not getting IIM calls.
Just because of the diversity and
Right. So
Like-
somewhere down the line, if you see the platform has come at normal level. So it's a myth. When we go to commerce college, they say like engineers are more preferred.
Yeah.
And when we go to engineering college, they say they have made it so hard for us that we will not be able to get into IIM. So
it's just a myth. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what roles or specifications is in like very high demand in the MBA industry?
So there's a lot of change which is happening. Few industries are evergreen, which will always work. Marketing is there,
Yeah.
consulting is
Consulting
there,
is there.
investment like banking, finance is
Investment
Yeah,
always
finance.
there, and these fields are really good. But when you go to IIM, what you are able to understand, like the roles which are offered
Yeah.
are very different to the roles which we feel. Like for example, if finance role we are getting, let's say we are getting into Kotak Mahindra Bank. So what we feel that if somebody is going in Kotak Mahindra Bank, he will be sitting in office, will be a manager, something like
Yeah.
that from a normal college. But in IIM, what happens? You are given a role of investment banking, and investment banking is very different from
Being a normal
banking
manager.
jobs which you get.
Yeah.
Investment banking involves a lot of like the kind of funds you will be having, where you will have to invest in different
Managing
places.
portfolios, risk assessment, like there's so diverse fields into it. And
So, for example, if Flipkart is like acquiring Walmart, Walmart is acquiring Flipkart.
Yeah.
So, at what price it should happen? It's $1 billion deal.
Yeah,
It's a $17.8 billion. If you
that is
convert it
mergers
like
and
whatever.
acquisition
So,
department.
every 0.1 value means a lot. At what value you should hire, how that merger should happen. So,
Yeah.
all those things is very different finance than what we think, and it's a very high paying job.
Yeah.
So, it's a very lucrative and very good field. Similarly, consulting like that.
Consulting is like that.
Recently, one new field which has emerged very drastically, ma'am will be able to shed
And that
light more.
is
is
product
management.
management. So with so much of tech booming and like so many e-commerce platforms coming in, and you being Gen Z, you understand how much time you spend on social media
Yeah.
apps. It's very important to understand the user.
Okay, so like I would have this follow-up question. Like most of the MBA people who are like currently in IIM colleges or in the second year, they opt for specifications as marketing, HR, or suppose consulting or finance, like you said. So are the other specifications irrelevant now?
Not really. Like I am from the field of product management.
Okay.
Then there is HR, operations. These fields are equally good. It's
What is
not
like
that-
product management? Like what role does a product manager do in the
So,
industry?
Product manager is the one who understands users.
Okay.
He's the one who will be analyzing the user base. He will be changing the look of how the app should behave, and what will be the best thing in which like user engagement can be maximized.
Like keeping a
something-
track of the users in social media or something like that.
Not really track. It's just that understanding them.
Okay.
What is it that you would like? What is it that you will respond more to? How should I change the screen that the user dropout on each screen is least? So, for example, Amazon or Flipkart, they track each and everything. Like they even track which portion of the app did you scroll, and then you just kept your cursor for a long time.
Yeah.
So everything is being analyzed at the back end. That why is it that they didn't proceed from there?
Okay. So this role
this-
is done by the product
Product
managers.
management.
So the product manager is the one who handles the entire software engineers and guide them to move in a direction. Like
Yes, they are the mini CEOs in the
Okay.
companies who have the small,
Yeah.
pockets of people whom they are managing about how the app should look and feel like.
Okay.
That way. In Goldman Sachs, now this is it's known for investment banking. It's known for the field of finance. Still, they are hiring now product managers. Why? Because they are also building their internal platforms wherein user interface is required. So anywhere where you have users, you want a good platform. Product managers field is very much relevant and a new
Yeah,
budding
definitely.
field in today's industry for MBA.
Okay, so talking about today's industry in MBA, we recently, I don't know if it's a myth or a fact again, but I would like to know from you that we have heard that most of the MBA graduates are unemployed. Why do you think that's the reason? Like if I'll go by the number, just talking about the MBA graduates, not the IIM ones, 93%.
93% I think is too high a number. That definitely I
But
think
okay,
will be a
it is
myth.
definitely more than 50%.
No.
Again, 50 also I think will be too high, but there can be multiple factors behind this. It's not only about degree, how hardworking you are, how serious you were when you were preparing from your when you did that 2 years of
That
MBA.
MBA degree. Yeah.
So it depends with all the courses. Like for example, even if you're an engineer or even if you are a CA, if you are not a good CA and if you are not develop a skill,
Yeah.
so then you will always be relevant in the market. So that is the kind of thing. And second thing, it can be depending on the external scenarios also, how the economy is working, like behaving right now, what kind of job scenarios are there. So
Yeah.
last year was very difficult for all the kind of stream. Even the engineers didn't got job. I'm sure like the colleges here also, like the placement has went down.
Yeah.
So it depends on multiple factors, but 50% I feel is too high. That will not be a number of unemployment, which I feel. I don't have the data, but I think it will be very high, 50%.
Even we got it from news channel. So yeah.
So I think that number will vary, but it depends how hardworking and skills you have developed. There are students who are from a very basic college, but because they work really hard and develop good skills, they are able to reach to a very high level in their corporate world.
Like what skills are we talking about here?
It's like about like if you are in finance, so you should genuinely know about finance. So if you are in consulting, you should be aware about like how you to approach, how to make those templates, how to give genuine good consulting.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing that is very important. If you are sales and marketing, you should actually understand what it is, like what is the distribution model, what are the thing, how to handle a team. You should be an extrovert. Even if you're from IIM and if you're going in sales and marketing and if you're not extrovert,
Yeah.
so it is not going to help you out. So in the long line, these degrees are helpful in taking your career ahead, but end of the day, it is you, right? What kind of personality you have, what kind of attitude you have, that is going to be very helpful, because life is a marathon, and end of the day, it is you. You will have to fight it out. So if you don't have things in you, even if you have the best of the degrees, that is not going to work.
You should have a personality to. Yeah.
And I would say it's not just that, like Siddharth said, that you should have it in you. I think everyone has something in us. It's two things. One is that we are in the wrong field.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm a very good artist, but I'm trying to make a career in a field which is, say, singing, and art is not there in singing. So like arting as in the sense, say, painting, and I'm trying my hands on singing.
Yeah.
So that way goes for MBA also. Na,
So I can completely empathize. Had I did a MBA and
Yeah,
I
you-
remain a metallurgical engineer,
Yeah.
I would not have been a good metallurgical engineer at all. So I have a degree of metallurgy from IIT, but if you'll ask me anything related to it, I don't know. So
yeah.
Okay. Yes.
it's
So
only a
yeah.
degree. So what Prachi is trying to say, you will have to
Yes.
find your interest. And
Definitely.
in the initial years, it is very hard to find. Like I can say that when I was 11th and 12th, nobody was there to guide me that much. But when I went into IIM, I was a bit more mature. The wisdom was at a higher level.
Yeah.
So I made far much more conscious decisions in my life.
And so
That's
the first thing is that you being at the right place where you feel is your calling. And second is having the knowledge to take the right decision. So a lot of us, I think especially your Gen Z, you guys do not have the right knowledge. Maybe like there's overload of knowledge. I would say it's not like
it's a
you
flood
have-
actually. Like even
Yes.
the stats we got, that 97%. I'm like, such to nahi hai, but theek hai, chalo.
No, it's impossible.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
95%.
There was a time when we used to say that people don't get knowledge, like they don't have. But I think for you, it's like you have tons
हाँ,
of knowledge. And you
choose
don't know
किससे
which
करे वो
one
भी.
is the
हाँ,
right
yeah,
one.
exactly. That's the problem.
And
So, which
overall,
career path
even
is
if
the
we
right?
talk about IIMs, the placement have gone high.
So what would you prefer? If a person should study on their own, self-preparation, or they should take some help from any institute, coaching, or purchase some books and all?
So in this, like, I want to ask one thing from you.
Yeah.
Why one should prepare self?
Like some people do have low financial stability.
Hmm.
They can't afford tuitions or purchasing those mocks. So for them, I'd like to know that those are the percentage of people who usually don't take help because they can't technically. So they usually go for self-preparation.
So for those students, I would say I would not recommend to go for a free course material, because I believe it is very important to have all the information available and be disciplined. Because if you join somewhere, anywhere, even at a very low cost, if you join any online player also,
Yeah.
one good part is that you get all the information about the topic. And on the other part, it make you a bit more disciplined with the mocks, with the classes. It brings a lot more discipline in you.
Those
so that
regular
you-
sessions give you a habit and a schedule to work.
Yes. So, for example, if I'll give you my own example, I gave CAT and I was preparing. I wanted to get into IMABC. So for me, because as discussed, like I was a general male engineer. For me, the cutoff for IMCAL was 99.81. If I would have got a percentile lower than 99.81, I would not have got a call from IMCAL. And I got 99.82 in CAT. So you should understand that 0.01 percentile also matters.
Yeah.
Had I not prepared from a coaching institute, prepared by myself, and I had missed only one concept and have solved one less question, I would not have got into IMCAL. So what I would say, life is a marathon, not a sprint. So if you're seeing it from a long-term perspective, spending 10-20,000 rupees, even at a lower amount at a place which will give you some value addition, you should go for it. Because it's not a 1-year thing. It is going to change your life completely.
Completely, yeah, definitely.
So I would always recommend to go choose a place which you like, but make ensure that you're getting everything. You're not missing out on any concept which is going to come in the paper, and your discipline is not being is being missed out. So that is something which you should work.
Okay, so does gap year matter?
It all depends upon how you present yourself.
Like, how would I present myself to the interviewers?
So, see, the thing is that there is always something that a person does in that 1 year.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just sit empty and prepare for CAT exam. There's so many things that one can do. So some things like, maybe you are passionate about, and somewhere you'll realize you're probably also doing it because you'll probably not be spending entire 24 hours preparing for your CAT exam. So something of your passion that you enjoy in your leisure time, just not making it leisure. Maybe if you just start working something seriously around it,
get some experience.
Can be a good.
You can join any NGO. You can do something related to art. You can anything. The kind
you
of
might just
interest
open a podcast of yours.
That can also be really nice. So anything that in 1 year something relevant you have done is going to help you out.
Because that's a life experience that you had gained in that 1 year.
Yeah.
So the thing is, once you get a call, then interview becomes the most important thing. And in an interview, if you are able to justify what you have done in that 1 year or 2 years, then you are through. So that is a key thing. Like I also cleared CAT in the second attempt. Like in first attempt also I got good percentile, but I didn't got the dream college.
Yeah.
So I worked for a year. Then I went for the interview. But like if you're able to explain what you did in that 1 year, then it works wonders for you.
Okay, so coming to our theme, which means bridging the gap between Gen Z and Millennials. The way you guys are excited, I know that you have prepared a lot. Okay, but before proper diving into the questions, I would like to know a story from your institute, a student which really, his story really touched your heart, his or her story, which really touched your heart. That from being for example, that the first time he came to an institute, he or she, they scored 30 percentile, or they were no hopes of, because their basis was not clear, but now they have become I would like you to complete the story.
Yeah. So as you were saying, it is easier for engineers. So I'll just talk about one of our students. He was an engineer. He came for the preparation, and in the first mock he scored really good in mathematics. He got some 97 or 98 percentile in quant, so his quant was really good.
Yeah.
But his verbal was very bad. He got -4 or -5 in his first verbal, the kind of mock.
Yeah.
So he was very tense because he was very serious about getting into
IIMs.
the IIMs, but he said my quant is good, even DI I am able to, LRDI is also okay for me, but if verbal is something which I am not able to crack, what should I do if my verbal will be not that good, how I'll get into IIM?
So there's a threshold. So in CAT exam, there's a threshold.
Yeah.
You have to clear the threshold in all the 3 sections.
Okay.
Without that, even if you are topper
Getting
in 2 sections
99%,
and not
doesn't
clearing
work.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't
And even the overall percentile was also going down because of the verbal.
Yeah.
So we sat with him, we spent a lot of time thinking about what we can do, because grammar was very bad, his vocabulary was not that good. So then you have to work around the student, how you can increase his marks
Definitely.
in the CAT exam. So CAT is very reading oriented paper.
Yeah.
If you'll see that RCs compromise
Yeah.
the major part. So what we made and worked with him, we focus a lot on the reading part. We made him read a lot of articles. We used to sit with him and see how he's doing. A daily task used to be given that you have to read articles. And with articles also, it is very important that you should be familiar with diverse field. The article can be on art, it can be on fiction,
Yeah,
it can be on
geography and
psychology,
everything.
on anything.
Yeah.
So unless you are not familiar with that field, the reading will become difficult.
Yeah.
So that is one thing which we really work around with him for a year, and I personally groomed him a lot. And in the end, he scored 98.5. percentile in verbal. So that
Yeah.
was kind of from -5 he started
Yeah.
and ended up with 98.5. So that was good, and finally landed up in IIM Indore. So that was
That's
kind
great.
of a good achievement.
Come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some common misconceptions about Gen Z you have noticed as educators?
So I feel that when we initially thought about it,
Yeah.
was that we thought that maybe Gen Z is more privileged or more entitled since they have seen all the technology at the moment they were born with. They had so much of internet exposure and
Yeah.
very comfortable with smartphones and the. But yes, while as we started teaching and with the lens of the educator, you get to talk to a lot of students. You realize that is not the case. They are very, very conscious about being independent financially. They are struggling about it. They want to make their financial choices in such a way that they can lead that independent life and
Yeah.
have their own home, have their own car, and have that family life, which we thought maybe is something which they wouldn't be wanting. So
Yeah.
that is something which
So they have been affected a lot because I feel capitalism has reached to a level that the corporates have entered inside your house, like the mobile,
Yeah, definitely.
whatever you're opening, you are being influenced by everything. So this is a generation which has been exposed to it a lot. The experiences of not that level because of the young age,
Yeah.
but they have been exposed to a lot of things which our generation was not. But what we feel from inside, they have that just inside them. It's just that you have to open up the few layers.
Yeah, like ma'am said during the whole shoot that
Yeah.
they are overflooded with knowledge.
Yeah.
So they just don't know like which to choose.
which to choose,
Yeah.
which to choose. Yes.
Right.
yes.
So if had it we also been in that scenario, we would also face the similar issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you think technology helps in bridging the gaps between the Gen Z and the millennials?
So you guys can multitask. You guys can do that a lot. So that is something which we sometimes feel is great
Yeah.
because we cannot.
Okay.
We cannot do that much of multitasking.
Yeah.
Then lot other things I feel that Gen Z is very good at it, which millennials are still learning from
Yeah.
Gen Z. Then, but I feel that there are a lot of things which Gen Z can learn from millennials. That is something like empathy.
Okay.
I read some of the documents online, like bombarded with again database.
Yeah.
But what I read, it said that around 70% of the Gen Z somewhere feels depression.
Yeah.
It's because they live in their own bubble. Why I'm calling it a bubble is because there is so much of exposure of these social website. They look at other people's life and feel that, oh, I don't have that. Oh,
Yeah.
I want this. That's something which I wish I had.
Yeah.
That is missing from my life. And the worst part of these platforms is that they're designed in this way that whatever content you like, you share more, or watch more, you see that much more type of content of the same thing.
Yeah.
So what happens is you get into this little bubble which you feel is the actual world, because the algorithm is this way that whatever you're liking, sharing, and looking at,
even-
they'll show you more of that content.
Yeah, even like they study the whole scenario. Like if we are texting that I'm sad to my friend,
Yes.
they'll be showing me reels of those.
Yes, so
I
they
understand the
just
thing.
like that things get magnified, and somewhere we feel that millennials handle it better because they have been a little
Less exposed to these.
exposed
Yeah.
And
to
it came at a later age also that we
Yes,
had
yes.
developed some wisdom before we got exposed to
The technology,
these technologies.
yeah.
But again,
That is-
technology is both pain and
Yes.
because
Yeah,
of technology,
definitely.
we are sitting here and a Gen Z is taking a
Yes.
podcast of a millennial and
Yeah.
we are interacting with
The-
lot of things. So this is how technology is helping us and connecting with them more also.
Yeah, like I could say about this that how can a Gen Z and a millennial build communities for personal growth or like help other people. So like this is one of the platforms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be more vocal about it. It's not like somebody is bad or somebody is good.
Yeah.
Every generation has their own set of challenges and own set of goods. Like maybe Gen Z is more accepting towards individual personalities, in which I would say millennials are not that much.
Yeah.
So which is a very good thing in itself. But if we learn from each other's good and help each other in, like, the bads,
Yeah.
the supportive community will
Because
be
no
created.
generation is perfect and no generation has complete wrong thing. And
Yeah.
all the generation has their plus and minus. But the best part will be to learn from each
They
other.
come on a
and-
similar
Yeah.
like platform, just because like what we see is that what like there's misconception that Gen Zs are open-minded and the millennials are too much what we say the word
Conservative.
conservative. So in that case, what I feel is it's not that, it's just how you have been grown up. We had technology, so we knew that it's fine, it's okay to do things and go for a passion and all. They were like, no, I don't know what to do. So they became in this way that even I have to teach the younger generation that you can't go in that way.
Right.
So yeah,
So the options were also very limited. Like when we were young, we
Yeah.
didn't have these options. Like for example, to become an influencer or
Yeah.
to start our own podcast, we had very
Exactly.
limited options. So we grew in that
exactly,
kind of
yeah.
environment and became what we became because of the environment.
So
Definitely.
some of the millennials are very good influencers.
Yeah,
So, they are like people who have learned. So,
definitely.
So both the fields have their pros and cons. And
Yeah. Okay, so now it's time for our rapid fire rounds.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Alright.
so what one advice would you give to your younger self?
so be self-aware and take decisions basis long term. I felt like in the initial part of my life, I was not taking decisions, keeping long term in my mind.
Yeah.
So the line which I said, like life is a marathon, not a sprint. So,
Yeah.
that is a thing which you learn over a period of time. So that is the kind of suggestion I will give.
For you?
I should have written CAT exam before. Like, I gave it a little late.
Okay.
I think that would have. I wasted some 2-3 years of my life figuring out what I want.
Okay. Myths regarding MBA.
Otherwise, it is not rapid for her. So one for you and then one for
Yeah, okay.
Okay, what was
Myths
it?
regarding MBA.
That it will be easy.
Okay. Any other myths you want to cancel out?
And that
Rapid fire.
God.
I can answer.
You please go ahead.
Yeah.
93% MBAs are
Unemployed,
So that is
okay.
we should not be there.
Okay.
Don't go for such kind of articles.
Yes.
They are fake.
Okay. What one advice would you give to someone who is currently a CAT aspirant?
Time is of key essence. It's very, very important. The more you prepare, the better you will be. There is no shortcut to hard work.
Okay.
Consistency is a key. The paper is not that difficult. Basically, end of the day, CAT is an aptitude test. It's not a very, it's not the exam is not like IIT or IS. It's a very aptitude exams. So what is more important is to be consistent. Daily level preparation, daily level of practice. It is very important.
Okay. The final question, but it has segments. If you had to describe a particular challenge in each specification, what it is for marketing?
Challenge.
Yeah.
The key challenge is the change in the landscape which is happening. The conventional way of marketing and the way Gen Z is changing.
Yeah.
That is the biggest challenge we are facing right now, because the way we used to do marketing like 5 years, 4 years down the line, it
Yeah.
has become obsolete now. So
Definitely.
we will have to learn, continuously upgrade ourselves and to be.
Okay. For human resource.
Oh, understanding people is the most difficult thing. Like when I was studying in MBA, I used to hear my professor say that, this is the most difficult thing.
Yeah.
And we used to say, really, HR?
HR?
But yes, it is true. Understanding humans is the most difficult thing. And for example, Gen Z, they just avoid confrontation at all. They would rather just put down the papers instead going to your boss and telling them, these were the things I didn't like. Please just change it because I'm not feeling comfortable about it. They would just put down the paper and say, I can't take it anymore. But just be
So
open.
I'm
Okay.
going to add one thing. When we were in job,
Yeah.
before starting this, we feel that HR doesn't work much. It's a very easy field. But now when we are running our own business, we feel that the difficult part, of all the stream is HR. Maximum of our
Most
bandwidth go
difficult.
into
Yes.
ensuring that our employees are happy, hiring, and ensuring things are going on. So it's a very difficult. It doesn't look that hard, but
Yeah.
when you actually run your own something of
things-
your own, then you realize that
yeah.
it is the most critical.
And companies are doing it very well.
Yeah.
Okay. So the third one being consulting.
Consulting is a very good field. Monetarily also it pays you well, but at times when we connect with our friend now, we feel that they get a lot of exposure of bird eye view, the
Yeah.
top end management, but somewhere down the line they are not able to reach to the ground. So that is one thing. What is happening at the ground level is something
They
which
miss
at times,
out on.
they miss out on that. So,
Okay. The fourth one being product management.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with product management. It's a beautiful field.
But if there was some
Definitely.
challenge, if somebody had to be in your role.
There are challenges. That is the fun of it because you're managing people, and
Yeah.
there's always a trip between teams because there are different things that everyone is chasing. Like engineering team is looking at some different things, and product
Yeah, definitely.
looking at some different aspects of the matrix. Ultimately, everybody wants a good product. So yes, but it's a beautiful field.
but I could say that if I can add one thing, like it's a very new field, so
Yeah.
probably they are exploring. Like the product management in itself has not been explored totally. I think
Yeah.
it's a
Yes,
field
yes.
which is changing really very fast. So that can be a challenging thing that you have to
Right,
constantly
right.
be.
You have to be constantly updated about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So in the curve, it is at a very nascent stage, like the
Yes. The other fields are very mature. They
mature
go decades back.
So
And
that is one challenge you can say.
okay.
Okay. So this was the end of our episode. Thank you for coming and being a part of Time Capsule Podcast. How did you like it? Like, did you enjoy the show?
Yeah. So got an opportunity to connect with Gen Zs. So it was really nice experience and we learned a lot.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.